Gardening enthusiasts, it's me, John Green, back in the greenhouse, and I'm just going to show you. I'm going to do one green bed height, just the edge, not even the actual bed to be finished, but one sleeper high around that edge there for my own aesthetic amusement. And I don't really like how there's kind of access almost to the outside world there. I think also having one sleeper is low enough that all of these vent holes, these air circulation holes, will be still useful, but the edge of the garden will just be much easier to maintain because there won't be all these in and outs, if you know what I mean, like with a shovel. It'll just be straight lines, and I prefer to work with straight lines. I know it's a garden, but I'm going to do one sleeper height. I'm going to do this corner now. I'll do it in fast forward because it's probably monotonous to watch, but it's fun to do, so that's why I'm filming it. Alright, okay, stay tuned, watch this bit. I'm just going to sort of lay out how I want the garden bed to basically be framed. These ones are cut at a 45-degree angle, so they fit into that corner. Everyone loves it out in the greenhouse. So I'll show you what I was doing so far. I put 3 up. It will be years before we actually have enough soil to do that. I don't know how much that is exactly. I think it's like 75 centimeters. No, more like, geez, I don't know how tall that is. But anyway, I can measure. The air vents are on the inside here, but you could sort of see that this would block the movement of the air. So doing 2 high is too high. Sorry, 3 high is too high. Doing 1 high, you can see the vents. So I think that's what we'll do today. We're just going to put 1 sleeper. We're going to measure everything so it's all square and plumb and everything. And just have 1 sleeper in the ground. And start dealing with our soil and amending it and digging it and doing all that stuff. Okay, so you're curious, this is what the joint looks like. It's not fixed. But this thing will be screwed in up against that piece of wood, and that'll be pushed in as much as it can be. That 45 didn't quite work out, but that's fine, because then this other piece of wood will fit. That does not make sense, does it? To put it that way. Okay, like that. Yeah, so I'll put these posts in anyway. They're a little bit tall. I might have to cut them down. Should be 3 from one of these pieces. So I'll cut these down so they're smaller, and that'll be the little framework that we need. Here there'll be another sort of bridging piece to sort of complete it. And if you could imagine, across here there'll be another piece going in across there. But you know, I'll be getting some compost tomorrow or the next day, so I shouldn't be making garden beds. I should just be clearing the way for the compost. I'm just very happy to have someone help me out and give me a hand, you know, at least with advice and tips. So yeah, I'll do this now. I'll have to cut things and slice things. I don't think I need to pull over. Can you see that? Warm. Yeah, I don't really need to pull over, but I don't want all this sawdust on me either. So I've decided what I'm going to do is only screw these very wide pieces of, I don't know what they are, I think they're 6 by 3s, no 6 by 4s, 6 by 3s, I don't know, but anyway, it's this treated wood, it's heavy, it's 20 kilos a piece. And I'm not going to put any infrastructure on the inside of the garden. I'm only going to screw them to these small sort of batten things that I just now cut off. Lots of little pieces, 12 pieces, 2 by 5, and basically that will be the backing board that I'm going to screw these very thick treated pieces of lumber onto. The reason I want to do this is to protect everything around the edges of the garden, and to keep as much of the soil, you know, sort of within a confined space as possible, without going right to the edges, because, you know, even around some parts of the edges I can see out from under the greenhouse, and I don't really want to be like digging and having my soil coming out through the bottom of the greenhouse. So that's why I'm putting this sort of protective edge around the edge. So it'll sort of show you, I hope, how I want it to look. Not with this ladder in the way. By the way, I don't recommend using a ladder instead of a sawhorse when you're cutting pieces of wood, because on the ladder it's a good for the moment fix, but the problem with the ladder is it has only certain steps. So either your piece of wood is too low on one side or it's too high on one side, and then when you cut straight down with a circular saw, you're actually cutting at an angle. You think you're cutting straight, and the circular saw is all set to make a straight 90-degree cut, but the piece of wood is going to be up too high. In my case, it was up a few degrees. You could see it, but it's not a really big deal, because, as I said, these are the parts that I'm screwing these bottom pieces of wood to. So it doesn't really matter how they look. They just have to be functional to keep all of these things fixed down without putting more wooden stakes in the ground. I think this will be an all-day thing, actually. I thought it'd be easy to film. But I'll give you an idea of what I'm doing with the bits that I just cut off. Alright, so where there isn't enough support, I'll put one of these blocks in. More support. Support between these two beams, important. Again, there will be support between these two. Whoops, you can't see it anymore, but everything needs to be supported from behind. Oh, you've just caught me in the garden. Like I said in the other video, this is still that same video. I cut some 2 by 5 or 2 by 6, whatever this is, and I put them sort of equidistant along these areas so that not just one, but then later even possibly a second piece of wood can be fixed in here. I don't think we'll ever go up to 3 because it'll still take a hell of a lot of soil to fill this thing up. So I'm just doing 1, and maybe in a few months, maybe 6 months or so, I can put a second rung, and then that should be enough to keep everything under control. But all we're doing today is the edge. So I'll show you what it's... I'm just screwing these bits down first. I'm running out of 8cm screws. So I'm only going to use 2 screws per piece here, which is fine. And then I've got 100cm screws, no, 100mm screws that are going to go through this 75mm piece and I guess an inch into here. So that'll be quite well supported. Did that make sense? But I can only do these parts first because the supports have to hold everything else up. And I also have to make sure everything's straight and flat. A hammer, oh. We'll level these out a little bit later. Just have to put these blocks in. I'm moving down this way. Cool noise. Yeah, 70s ray gun. I'll go over to this corner. Hey Poppy, what's going on? This is one of the reasons I think people prefer raised beds, is because once the hard work is done, you don't have to lean over all the time. You know, it's kind of like at a nice height even to sit on the edge of a raised bed and lean over and work. Other people just prefer to use tools, you know, like hoes and rakes, which is all fine, but I don't think we're going to be monocropping so that we can just have one kind of thing in each row. There's going to be a lot of things to take care of, and we have to do that by hand. I think it just makes more sense. Right. Look, a peg. This is the kind of weird plastic rubbish that lasts 100 years. They agree. I can actually start fixing these in with 100mm screws. I checked that one already, it's flat. These are not going to be perfectly flat, they're going to be in line with the rest of the greenhouse, which actually goes downhill slightly. You noticed that, right? The greenhouse goes downhill, and this is going to follow that line. This one is good. Already checked it. See the bubble in the middle there? And then the bubble. Oops. Pretty good. Just have to screw it in. It's not a load-bearing connection or anything, so I'm just going to use 2 screws per joint. has to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect because this thing isn't. I'm going to put another one of these in. They said it'll be even. This thing goes off in a weird direction, so that'll be more solid.
What's Poppy doing? Look at her.
You want to hide under there, Pops? Sit in your bed.
You're weird.
Done. So much mud. Ugh. I was looking for these. You're filming my face like it had the answer. And I was looking for something. Yeah. Cool, actually. I thought it would be way off. It isn't. See? It's pretty good, actually. Alright.
Yeah, she's sitting on it. Look at her. Did you see this?
It's all the oil.
Oh,
The oil that I poured around the edges. This will get painted with bitumenized paint on the inside, so the screws and stuff won't rust, plus they're galvanized. I love it when it's spot on. Gets me going.
Are the brakes on?
No.
Should I turn them on?
No, it's not going to roll because the ground is too soft.
Okay.
The wheels are actually in the ground.
Alright.
Excellent. That's the last piece. That means I have to cut it. And that's when we finish for the day. I'll start again in the corner over here. It's really good. Look at that one. 45. It's not exactly 45 down the other end, but this is 45 degrees and it looks oh so good. It looks nice. Dirty work. You can't, I say, you really can't compromise too much when it comes to doing things like the little corner. When I say little corner, I mean there's about a 3mm lip, and you might be tempted to just say, oh, that looks rustic and nice. It might for now. But if we want to be adding more rungs to this later on, everything should be perfectly flat now, so when we add things later, it's not going to cause an issue. And we raise the height any way we can, and once the screws are in place, it doesn't matter, we just fill it with soil. Yep, just stuff rocks and things under there till you get the result that you want. That's all it is. You notice I always do it quite a bit back, so I'm not doing it straight on like that. I'm doing it back here and then just slightly turning it in so that I get the maximum amount of space there that's not, it's going to take the longest time to rot. If I do it right near the edge, it'll create maybe a wet spot that rots quicker, so I just try to do it as far out as I can. Out here. Turns out to be a handy tool. She's right in your face. I love it. I love it when that happens like this. So square.
Poppy, don't eat it.
Alright, you can shut that off for a sec. I have to get more screws.